we present nbdocker, an extension that integrates Docker software containers into Jupyter notebooks. nbdocker transforms notebooks into autonomous, self-contained, executable, and reproducible modules that can document and disseminate complicated data science workflows. To demonstrate, let's look at a workflow described using a traditional text file, using a Jupyter notebook, and finally, using nbdocker. As our example, we look at the popular RNA-seq workflow using Callisto and Sleuth, published in Nature Biotechnology. The text description of the workflow in front of you is taken straight from the GitHub repository. The workflow consists of two major steps: a quantitation step using Callisto to determine the relative abundance of the different RNA transcripts, and an analysis step using Sleuth to determine which transcripts change abundance as a result of the treatment. The Markdown language, used in GitHub-style documentation, allows for highlighting of the code, but not for its dynamic execution. The reader must install and execute the software with the correct parameters in order to reproduce the results and customize the protocol for their own data. Jupyter notebooks add specialized code cells that allow for dynamic execution of the code. By clicking on the Run button, the notebook reader can run the same code, the same parameters that the authors used in the publication. Here, we see the code executing and producing the results. Readers can also edit the code to customize the software for their own data. Different kernels are available for Jupyter, providing support for many different languages. However, only one language is supported at a time, which is a significant limitation. In this example, the analysis code using Sleuth, an R package, can be easily embedded into Jupyter notebooks using the R kernel. However, the earlier quantitation steps use Callisto, a binary compiled from C++. This cannot be executed within a notebook using the R kernel. Callisto and its supporting libraries must be installed separately in order to run the entire pipeline. As a solution to this limitation, we present nbdocker. nbdocker is an extension that allows a user to embed Docker commands into Jupyter notebooks. Docker software containers provide isolated virtual environments that can run any command reproducibly on the notebook's reader's local hardware or cloud platform. This allows for a workflow with multiple components to be completely encapsulated within the notebook. No additional software installation steps are required to execute and customize the workflow. To use nbdocker, the user clicks on the nbdocker icon from the menu bar and enters the desired command. A button then appears in the text cell that links to the command. Clicking on the button allows the Docker command to be run by the notebook reader. For our example, we have added buttons for each of Callisto quantitation steps. The user can now reproduce the earlier steps of the workflow by clicking on the buttons embedded in the text cells. The analysis steps using Sleuth are still handled by the code cells, allowing the user to reproduce and customize the entire workflow without ever leaving the notebook environment. We started with a typical text description of our workflow. Installation of software is required for each step, and because the code was executed separately, there is no guarantee that the parameters and procedures described are exactly the same as the ones used to produce results. Jupyter notebooks add cells with code that can be modified and executed within the notebook. However, only one language is supported by code cells. Complicated workflows still require installation and execution of code outside the notebook. nbdocker has the ability to embed Docker commands into the text cells. This allows the notebook to encapsulate the entire workflow. Users can execute and modify the complete pipeline without ever leaving the notebook. We have summarized the features of Jupyter and Docker as they relate to NIH's FAIR principles, i.e., findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Jupyter notebooks, with their interactive code cells, are certainly accessible. Their shareability greatly facilitates collaboration between groups. However, the restriction to a single language is a significant limitation. Docker, on the other hand, provides almost universal interoperability and modularity. Docker containers are widely available in public repositories and are automatically downloaded as necessary. However, the command line interface limits the accessibility. nbdocker gives us the best of both worlds, combining the modularity, interoperability, and findability of Docker containers with the accessibility of Jupyter Notebooks. Thank you for watching this introductory video. We hope that it was useful and that you might consider using nbdocker for documenting and disseminating your data science workflows.